I'm Ari Miller with the Albany Symphony, sitting here with David Mallamud, whose piece Spittoonia on the Erie is being premiered at MPAC Friday, June 2nd with The Dogs of Desire. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. I got some questions for you.
Yeah.
So, I was wondering if you could just give us a little intro into your piece.
Yeah, so my piece is essentially a rompy telling of Cinderella set on the Erie Canal in the 1820s.
Why Cinderella?
So basically, I spent a fair amount of time researching the Erie Canal, and what I really wanted to do was to take a folk tale, kind of set on the Erie Canal, and either use it, in public domain, either use it for the piece to tell a story, or to take the style of the folk tales that would have been told about the Erie Canal and craft that into a story, an original story. And I wasn't finding any folk tales or tales even around the Erie Canal that felt like I could turn them into a story that really I connected with. So I decided it made much more sense to take a tale that I did connect with. I've always been interested and fascinated by Cinderella, and set that on the Erie Canal.
But Cinderella is a pretty involved story, no?
Yeah, and what we actually did was we started with Cinderella and kind of let the piece go where it went. So it kind of starts there and it does venture off, and there are places where it connects, but a lot of times it kind of goes in its own direction, and that's mainly because of the librettist, who is Nathan Christensen.
So you worked with a librettist?
I did work with, yeah.
So what was the process of the two of you collaborating on the piece?
So basically, I had the general idea to do Cinderella on the Erie Canal. I had kind of a loose synopsis, and then he took it and really ran with it in the most wonderful ways. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle the storytelling of the piece like this, because it is very complicated, and adapting a story in an interesting, meaningful way is really complicated as well. But he really has that skill set, and I think did a wonderful job. And he's kind of wildly quirky and creative.
Were you sending things back and forth to each other, or was it sort of collaboration at the same time?
So I basically, it was really because usually I'll have maybe 6 months to do a commission, and it can really just kind of gestate naturally. In this case, I had 2 months to come up with the idea and do everything, and it was supposed to be a half-hour piece, so there wasn't really time. So once I sent him the idea, we both kind of went to our corners and would connect occasionally, but there wasn't the kind of, certainly not in the same room writing, and not even, meeting every few days to check in. So we kind of went away, met back at a few points. When we both had everything essentially written, we put everything together to see how it merged, and then, there was a lot of tweaking and, massaging different parts so that they worked together as fluidly as possible. We did have a skeleton, so we at least had an idea of the major points, an idea of what the songs were. I should say that he is a librettist. He's a wonderful librettist. For this iteration of the piece, he just did the narration, and so I did the lyrics, which I normally do for my dog's pieces. A lot of times when I'm working in theater, I don't do lyrics.
Do the lyrics move the narration along, or do they sort of serve as
That's a
pauses
good
between
question.
them?
They more give you some details about the story, but they don't really further the story, except for one, in the way they might in contemporary musicals, where a lot of times there is a lot of further to the story. These are more about giving you more insight into the story.
Do you think the pieces themselves could stand alone as their own sort of Erie Canal, Cinderella amalgam work?
You mean like the individual songs?
Yeah.
Or, I think some of them could work. I mean, the ones I think that are much more do further the story more. Actually, the one probably couldn't stand on its own. The others probably could, although they might seem a little odd because of the language and the
Sure.
yeah.
Well, they would fit well on your album, I think.
I hope, yeah.
On the next one,
Yeah.
which I'm sure will snatch that Grammy.
I hope so.
But all right, that's all. But thank you for
Great.
sitting down with me.
Thank you.
And I look forward to it on Friday.
Great, thanks.
Better?
Yeah.
I had some new questions too.